G. Scope of the research. Subject of the research. The subject of the research is the students of 11th grade of SMA Al-Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung, Kota Bandar Lampung at the first semester of academic year 2018 and 2019. Object of the research. The object of the research is students' reading comprehension by using Jakarta Post. Time of the research. The research will be conducted at the first semester of 2018 and 2019. Place of the research. The place will be conducted at SMA Al-Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung, Kota Bandar Lampung. Frame of theories. 1. Teaching English as a foreign language. Language is a means of communication. Human beings use language to express idea, feeling, and their expectation to others. Stiadi said, language is a system for the expression of meaning, and the principle in teaching foreign language is enabling the students to communication with other people by using English. Language teaching is influenced by ideas on the nature, language theories, and the learning conditions that make learners to acquire the language. It means that English language is general context is different when English for communication and English for teaching materials and methods. These differences may influence in teaching English achievement. Teaching is a process of showing or helping someone to learn how to do something, giving instructions, guiding in the study of something, providing with knowledge, and it is causing someone understand about something that learned. It describes that the teaching is a process to help the learner for understanding something that learned. In this case, the English teacher should be able to create the real situation which can be used to support teaching and learning process in order that the students are able to use English naturally for communication. The student should be put and involved in the situation and they can use English for communication, both written or spoken forms. According to Harmer, that English as a foreign language is generally taken to apply the students who are studying general English at school or institute in their own countries or as transitory visitors in a target language country. Second, reading. Definition of reading. Reading is the complex cognitive process of decoding symbols to derive the meaning. According to Patel and Jane, reading means to understand the meaning of print words or written symbols. It means that reading is an activity which involves the high comprehension to understand the material, the content and the material on its reading material. Reading also is an active process which requires readers to understand the meaning of words and decoding symbols. Reading is an important skill in learning English. To learn reading, we absolutely seek to know the definition of reading. Jennifer stated, reading is thinking and understanding and getting at the meaning behind the text. It means that reading is a process where the reader tries to meaning the written material inside. C. Types of reading. According to Nation, generally Reading is divided into two types. There are intensive reading and extensive reading. The definition of each type is as follows. First, intensive reading. Intensive study of reading text can be mean of increasing learners' knowledge of language features and their control of reading technique. The classic procedure for intensive reading is the grammar translation approach where the teacher works with the learners. It means that intensive reading is reading with accuracy to comprehend the text. It can be done with learners and teachers. Usually, intensive reading involves translation technique and to comprehend the text. By using translation to active that learners understand about the text, it can make the process of comprehend easier. 2. Extensive reading. Extensive reading is a form of learning from meaning-focused input. During extensive reading, learners should be interested in what they are reading. It means that extensive reading is learning process with accuracy. While reading the text, the learner should be engaged with the text and focused with the text which they read. The reader also should pay attention to get the meaning of the text. They and Bamford state that the characteristic extensive reading is involving large quantity of varied self-select, enjoyable reading at reasonably fluent speed. Based on those explanations, it can be concluded that intensive reading is a technique of reading to increasing students' comprehension in understanding language features from a text by using translation technique in order to make easier in understand the text. Furthermore, extensive reading is a process of reading text with accuracy. The researcher used intensive reading because the researcher just focused on students' understanding in reading text so that the intensive would be really appropriate for the students. D. Reading comprehension. The crucial goal in reading to comprehend the information from the text itself. Comprehension is the center of reading. It means that comprehension is the ability to understand something completely and be familiar with the situation and fact. According to Kinch, comprehension is not a single unitary process. It starts from the moving word on the page to meaning the mind and the recognizing of individuals work by using memory, knowledge of letters and sound patterns. Matching, which resulting the pronunciation of meanings. And finally, connect these words into idea units. It means that comprehension, the ability of someone to make a connection between information, the text, and in the reader head to make a conclusion about the text meaning. Reading comprehension involves much more than the reader response to the text. Reading comprehension is a multi-component, highly complex process that involves many interactions between readers and what they bring to the text, as well as variables related to the text itself, interest in the text, understanding of types. It means that successful or failure in reading comprehension is depend on the reader, whether they have good previous knowledge, good reading, high reading interest, or easy to understand the text, or vice versa. Based on the explanation above, reading comprehension play important role not only for contract the meaning of the text, but also to take the conclusion from the text as the product of its process. Reading comprehension also is a complex text. There are many different cognitive skills and abilities which related to it, such previous knowledge, good reading strategy, and high reading interest. Moreover, reading comprehension brings students to succeed in their examination because by comprehending the material before, they will remember the material much more. It helps them to do the exam. There are some features which should be involved in assessing the student's reading comprehension. They are A. Main idea. B. Expression, idiom or phrases in the context. C. Inference. D. Grammatical features. E. Detail. F. Excluding facts not written or spoken or orally. G. The supporting ideas. H. Vocabulary in context. There are 8 features of reading comprehension assessment in this case. These features are provided to measure the student's achievement in reading comprehension. E. Teaching reading. Teaching is guiding and facilitating learning, enabling the learners to learn, setting the conditions for learning. It means that in teaching and learning activities for their learning activities in the teaching process, the teacher must facilitate and learn a more interesting process to make students feel comfortable in the learning process so that they can create an active class environment. Teaching reading can provide students with many opportunities to study language, like vocabularies, grammars, punctuation, and the way we construct sentences, paragraphs, and text. During this process, we must pay attention to the principles of reading. Teaching reading process of the collaboration of teacher and students. The process can be transferring knowledge. The principle can be standard to limit teachers when they is teaching. The principles of teaching reading are stated below. 1. Reading is not a passive skill. 2. Students need to be engaged with what they are reading. 3. Students should be encouraged to respond to the content of the reading text, not just to the language. 4. Prediction is a major factor in reading. 5. Match the task to the topic. 6. Good teacher exploit reading text to the full. F. Definition of text. In reading activity, a text is needed as a medium for reader. Text is usually taken as a referring the product, especially the product in its written form, since this is most clearly perceptible as an object. It means that the form of the text is written product, whether the print out of or soft file people are text to read to get information from it. According to Knapp and Watkins, there are 2 main categories of text: literary and factual text. Literary texts include novels, epics, poems, dramas, and sagas. Factual texts deal with the exchange of knowledge learning in all of the learning areas. Based on the explanation above, there are 2 categories of text. There are literary and factual text. Literary is written product to entertaining people, such as novels, epics, dramas, sagas, legends, and etc. Meanwhile, factual text, written product that describes something based on the facts to learning process, such as biographies, histories, reading materials, and etc. And type of text. The texts are classified into genres based on the writer's intention. Knapp and Watkins states that types of the text in English are divided into several types. There are genres of describing, explanation, interacting, arguing, and narrating. These variations are known as genre. However, Gerard and Wienel classify the genre into 13 types. There are: first, recount; second, report text; 3, spoof text; 4, analytical exposition; 5, news items; 6, anecdote; 7, narrative; 8, procedure; 9, description; 10, hortatory exposition; 11, explanation; 12, discussion; and the last 13, reviews. Based on the explanation above, it can be inferred that there are some type of texts. For each type of text have different purpose and function itself. In this research, one only text would be discussed further to know the ability of students to comprehend, which is news item. The researcher chose news item because from the preliminary research by interviewing the teacher have problem to teach reading, especially reading comprehension, by using news item. So that the researcher conclude focusing on news item. Concept of news item. There are many kinds text in English. Every text has the difference of its definition, social functions, language features, and generic structure. In this case, the researcher will focus on news item. Definition of news item. News item is a text which informs the reader about events of the day. The events are considered newsworthy or important. It means that if there is an important event that should be known by many people, this event deserves news. The news text is called the news item text. However, if there are events that people do not deserve, then they are not definitely worth to be news. Generic structure of news item. Additionally, the generic structure of news item is described as follows. Main events or newsworthy events. It recounts the events in summary form as the title of the news. B. Elaboration or background events. They elaborate what happened with or to whom in what circumstance. Or it uses the formula of 5W and 1H. C. Research the information from its source. It contains comments by the participants in, witnesses to, and the authorities expert of the events. 3. Purpose of the news item. News item is used to inform the readers about events of the day which are considered newsworthy or important.